during a bit of spotlight, a bit of limelight. So, for example, Stephen Greer was this guy for a while, right? He had this mantle. He was the guy trying to force disclosure. He had the whistleblowers, and then when Dave Grush came out, um, and Louis Elizondo came out, and it felt like a separate wave of disclosure initiative was happening, and it wasn't inclusive of Stephen Greer and anything he had done, which I find more and more odd the more I, read about the link with Danny Sheehan, right? Um, Part of me thinks that there could be a real concern between the two of them. Like, Louis Elizondo could be a legit guy, says what he says, he is what he says he is, and is actually trying to usher this thing through. Um, and then Stephen Greer can be like a turd in a punch bowl, right?
Right.
So it's like every time Lou and people in his camp are taking two steps forward, someone will point to Stephen Greer and say, "This is one of your guys. This is the
Right.
guy talking about disclosure." So you're all lumped in together. And Stephen Greer might be someone who is legit, saying like, "Guys, this is COINTELPRO. This is literally a counterintelligence operation." And honestly, like, I could see both of those things. We talk about the Y Files a lot.
Yeah.
I really like that show. And AJ from the Y Files has maintained this consistent belief that if these people were whistleblowers, they would not be going to the federal government for permission to say certain things. And therefore he's been skeptical of Grush, of Lou Elizondo, of all of them since the beginning because of that. And so that's technically what Stephen Greer's saying. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one for me. And I do think as a community, instead of people saying, "I'm Team Lou, I'm Team Greer," which is the worst possible thing that can happen, in my opinion, that energy will set everything back, in my opinion. You put your eggs in the basket of a person rather than an idea.
Mhm.
All they have to do is find some weird, compromising documents on either of their laptop, and then the whole thing goes to shit because, we're rooting for a person versus an idea. Instead, I'd rather see, shows like yours and Vetted and whoever it is continue to dig up as much as possible on both of them and see if there is anything there, because that's going to push it forward if we make sure we have nobody manipulating us in the space.
Yeah, I mean, look, is a great point, and I think one of the things that's so frustrating in this community and other communities, whether it's the pop culture stuff, all that, and politics in general, is that everybody's just against each other, and that's one of the main reasons that things just never get done is because
Right.
people are just against one another. And in this topic, that is just the kiss of death, and it's like
It should be a unifying topic.
100%.
You should expect people are going to come in and try to take advantage of the situation one
Right.
way or another.
Right. Well, especially though when you have two guys that say they know as much as they do and what's really out there, that. And in Lou's comments, it's pretty much he said, "Look, I'm not going to say anything bad about somebody, but you listen to whoever you want to listen to." And I think that's the approach to take.
He did crack a little bit. I don't
He
know if you
did.
felt
He did.
noticed.
He
And
was.
that-
Yeah, he did. He was getting
he's got
pissed
a
off.
very stoic demeanor
Yeah.
normally, which
Yeah.
I really admire, and I think makes him a great representative and a public speaker. And whenever someone like that cracks, I go, "Uh-oh,"
Right.
because that's something I've noticed. Presidential debates going
Mhm.
back 2 decades. It's something I've noticed in local politics here in Miami, that you have these people that are
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
all
like,
right.
they're archetypes for an aspirational figure, and people are putting hope into these people. And then someone comes out and will say one thing that cracks, the demeanor, and
It's
that
true.
is a concerning thing to me because someone like him shouldn't be able to be cracked. That's not the first time he's heard of Greer. He has to know everything there is about Greer.
Sure,
And
but take it.
you know.
But take this also, and to play devil's advocate, there is that this guy's on a whirlwind book tour. Who knows how much sleep he's gotten?
Agree with you there.
You know what I mean? The idea also that the constant stuff that he's talked about with the pressure he's been in, with his family and the other things too. He's still a human being, so I don't care how much he's done it. So there's you can crack, and he got himself back to it. But you did see when he was sitting there, he's like, "Well, wait a minute, isn't this the guy that got accused of doing the flares?"
Yeah.
So, but then he pulled it back.
if I'm nobody, but if ever Lou or his team is listening to this show, my advice as someone who's just watching would be like you can allude to those concerns without making it seem like you're teasing or poking fun
Sure.
at, because I think if you do that, you lose a lot of people, and you're going to stoke the flames of division by doing that, because there are people who just love Stephen Greer, period.
Yeah.
For as a person, like, forget what he's talking about. I've seen it. Like, they're like going to bat for this guy they've never met, right? And so to me, I would say stay on the issue, stay on the topic. You can say something like, I get what you're saying, by the way. Like, if I'm doing all this fucking work and then there's this guy just